Did you ever end up spending way more time on small edits than you anticipated? Say you made a website for a client 2 years back, and now they suddenly email you asking you for a smaller change, and you're thinking, well, this is not an issue because it's a really simple adjustment. But then when you actually get down to it, you realize how much setup work you need to do. Like, you may need to set up the whole dev environment again. You need to get familiar with the code you made 2 years back, and you might also realize that you use some libraries back then that you don't really work with anymore today, and so on. So you actually end up spending way more time than you anticipated. Well, one of my favorite features in Replit is the ability to import existing GitHub libraries and have the AI instantly get familiar with that project. So you would simply import the project to Replit. It would set up the whole dev environment automatically, show you a preview of the current state of the project, and then when everything is set up automatically, you can simply copy the email from your client and paste it into the Agentic AI assistant and see the whole feature being implemented in real time. And in many cases, it will be almost flawless from the first try. And once Replit has implemented the feature and you approved it by visually confirming that it is how you and perhaps your client anticipated, then it can automatically push it as a commit back to GitHub. And if you then also have an automatic deployment workflow set up in GitHub, you can also basically see it get deployed and pushed to their live site automatically. So I think this is a really powerful feature that can radically optimize the workflow on these like smaller tasks that really end up like eating a lot of your time. So let me show you the workflow I'm talking about. Okay, so the first step is to create a new app in Replit. So replit.com/new. And you, of course, need to have a user account as well. On the Create New App page, you have a few options. First of all, of course, the regular Create with Replit agent. You can create an app based on a template, but you can also create a new app where you import a project from GitHub. And to use this feature, you, of course, need to connect your GitHub account with Replit, which they will guide you through. So after that's done, you'll have access to your GitHub repositories directly within the Replit interface, and you simply choose the project you want to import. So in order to not offend any of our previous clients, like House used to be a digital agency. So in order to not offend any of our clients, I will not use a client project in this case, but I will use our old agency website just to illustrate how easily we could actually implement a change into that old site. And as you can see, like, I last touched this like 9 months ago, so it's been a while, and I probably don't remember how exactly this is set up or where we left off that website since we since pivoted. And you simply press it and press the button import from GitHub. And now Replit will just start importing and analyzing the code base and figure out like what kind of dev environment is needed in this case. And yeah, it already has some pretty good assumptions. Okay, it will set up Node.js, some TypeScript, CSS, HTML, and so on, and the run command is npm run start. So this all looks correct. I just press confirm and close. Okay, and let me switch to the desktop app because for some reason, I don't know why, but you cannot create new apps from the desktop app. You can only edit existing apps, but I actually think the desktop app is nicer to work from. Okay, so we are now in the desktop app, and I opened the same project that I just created. So just initially, to just test out that it's set up the dev environment correctly, we can just press the run Replit just to see. It will likely need to do some installs just to install all the repositories that's used, but this is of course only the first time. And we can see that it's going through the npm install and now starting the development server. Okay. So yeah, so this is our old website back from when we were an agency. And let's assume the scenario where we, for some reason, would want to launch this website again, and we needed to make some changes. So how can we do this in Replit? So in any of these windows, I like to do it in this lower window. We can create an AI assistant. So we simply press the plus button and we scroll down and choose assistant. Okay, so now this assistant is actually already pretty familiar with the project, the whole code base, and we can ask it to do anything. We don't need to necessarily tell it which files to work on. It will automatically figure out where to put in the relevant edits. Of course, if you really specifically want to edit a file, you can specify that by tagging it with the add symbol. But in many cases, it's not really necessary. So let's assume that we want this menu to be like, this is sort of a menu that's anchored to the bottom of the website, and say for some reason we want to make this a bit more traditional and have sort of a full width menu at the top of the website. So how would we do that? Well, let's try to just ask the AI to do it. So I will write something like recreate the main navigation menu so it becomes a fixed full width top menu rather than the current menu, which is centered and anchored to the bottom. Okay, and then we can make a list of requirements. So say we want it to be, let's say, transparent before scroll. And we can say it should have a white background during scroll with semi-transparent backdrop blur. We can say that texts and links should be dark gray. And we can say that the logo SVG should have black text, because right now it's white. So I think we should just try to run this and see how it goes. So after writing the prompt, you simply press enter or the submit button. And then now we can see the AI in action. So the assistant begins. And it says, I'll help you recreate the navigation menu according to your requirements. Based on your code base, we need to modify the navbar component to create a fixed full-width top menu with the specified styling. So this all seems correct. It's working on the navbar component. Okay, and it's also working on the individual menu item component. So it determined itself that these are sort of the correct components to make the change in, and also it's updating the main app.js because that's where the menu is imported. And also it's working on some global styling. And we can always click on these changes and see the diff. So basically see the lines that have been changed and either deleted or added in the updated file. So we can go through all those and just ensure that we agree with the changes before applying them. But even if we don't go through it, we can always apply and just sort of go back to the previous breakpoint and revert the changes if something is wrong. Okay. So it's been updating these 4 files. And the only thing we need to do to then see this in action is to press apply all. So we confirm that we would like to update these files in the code base. And it's just applying the changes to the files. And let's see now how it looks. So it's just recompiling the project. And yeah, so now we have a top menu with dark gray menu items. When we scroll down, we get the white background and also the backdrop blur as well. So this is all good. Of course, there is something with the logo, but that's an animated SVG. I didn't really expect it to change that. And also this looks a bit weird, like it's spread out. So maybe we can say something like all good, but the menu item should be right oriented rather than spread out across the menu, across the width of the menu. Also, please make the menu full width, so the lines with the headings margins of the rest of the page. Okay, so let's try something like this and see how it goes. Okay, so it says, I'll update the navbar component to make the menu items right aligned and ensure the menu is full width to align with the side's paddings and margins. All right. So it has made some changes, and we press apply all again. See how it looks. And for every change, it makes a checkpoint. You can always undo changes and go back to a previous checkpoint. All right, so it did everything. It didn't really do the sort of the alignment of the logo, but it made this correctly, and it still works as expected. So I would say this is pretty good. We can always either tweak this manually if this is faster, just to remove the padding, or we can try once more just to create a prompt. So my guessing is that it might be because it put sort of a maximum width on sort of the container inside the navbar. So I'll just try to ask it to remove any max width in the navbar, including inner content container, something like that. So I assume it has like a sort of a main container that's like fully, like the nav component is like fully fixed width, but then it probably has this container inside that it may have put like a maximum width on or something like that. So let's see if that theory is correct and just see if it works. And we apply. And it actually works. So it seemed to have had like a max width beforehand, and now this should be aligned with the rest of the page. So I would say this is pretty successful, and at least I can say for sure that if I had to do this manually, set up the whole environment in like Visual Studio Code or something, I would need to manually run all the npm install commands. I would need to get familiar with the the code base and figure out like which files to edit exactly and which like what dependencies exist between different components and so on. So this is just so much faster. And say this was sort of a real context with a client, for instance, like I didn't even have to write the prompt because usually the client would do the prompt writing for you when they write the email indicating what change they want to have done. So yeah, this is really amazing. And I mean, I honestly don't think it will be long before you can even set up a workflow where like whenever you receive client emails, an AI could probably analyze that email, figuring out if there are any tasks, like website tasks within that email, and basically have the change ready for you to review before you even read the email yourself. I think that could be pretty powerful. So at least that's an idea maybe for Replit to implement. So yeah, I think this is really amazing. And of course, this was just like a small example, but it could really be anything. You can also have it implement bigger. You can also have it implement bigger features. So I think only sort of imagination sets the limits. Of course, expect sometimes you will have to reprompt it like we also did. It's not perfect yet. It will gradually become better and better and better at understanding your requirements. But until then, it's just simply about it's simply about reprompting and just sort of communicate and articulate what it is you want done as specific as possible. And also just use the tools provided, like go back to previous breakpoints and so on. It really works quite well. So see it as an iterative process where you're like the manager and you don't really need to dig deep down into the code anymore. So another feature I just want to briefly show is the Git integration. So you can always find the sort of the Git connection by pressing the All Tools icon in the left menu and press on Git. And here you will actually see that without you having had to do anything, it's already made some commits that are of course not pushed to the remote yet, but it's just prepared these commits. So the first one was when it was setting up the dev environment. Then it made a assistant checkpoint commit where it created a fixed full width top navigation menu. The next one is also an assistant checkpoint where it created right aligned menu items in the full width navbar. And the last commit was that it removed the max width constraints from navbar. So you don't even need to write the commit messages anymore. This is also done automatically, and you can of course always then push the commits to Git whenever you are happy with the result. And yeah, as I mentioned in the intro, if you have an automatic configuration set up for automatic deployment, then you don't really need to do anything else, and it's all basically taken care of. So I think this is really amazing, and it can save so much time. So yeah, this is just really great, and I know I'm gonna be using it a lot both now, but also I cannot wait to see how much more reliable this will become in the future. Because as we can also see with the development in the AI space, the base models are just getting better and better, almost like week by week now. Like Grok 3 is completely amazing, which happened after DeepSeek also launched, which is also an amazing model. So it seems that these models are just advancing continuously all the time, and eventually those advancements will also spill over to tools like Replit, because they become way more capable with more capable base models. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you see how powerful this feature in Replit can be and how much time it can potentially save. I know at least that I will be using this feature a lot because I often need to tweak older projects, and I just know this can save me so much time. So it's really incredible, and it's also just the beginning. So it's going to be really interesting to see how much better and how much more reliable these tools are going to become in the near future. Please remember to like the video and also to subscribe to our channel. That will help us a lot. And yeah, thanks again for watching. We'll be back with more videos like this very soon. So see you. Bye bye.